So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and for joining the Controversy 7. I'm going to make this intro nice and short. I'm just going to make a statement. I'm letting you know the time, if you are one of those people who trust the experts and you don't question what they are telling you, you need to start using this. The time for trusting the experts, or I believe the experts because the experts said it, I believe it, that time is finished. We can't trust any of those people. You want to learn something? You need to actually go and actually search for yourself. Don't just take someone else's word for it just because they are recognized in society as people of high color and people who are well educated. These so-called great minds of society, these so-called people of high status, very intelligent, these are people who I would like to refer to as the professional buffoons, because that's all they are to me. They are all nothing but jokers. If they were able to lie to us about so many things, man, nothing can be trusted that comes out from their mouths. Because that which comes from their mouth is that which comes from their rear. You understand? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to bore you. Let's jump straight to the topic. Let's welcome Neil deGrasse, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
So you want to find the farthest point from that center. And it turns out sea level at the equator is farther away from the center of the Earth than sea level near the poles. It has nothing to do with global warming and melting of the ice caps.
Why is that?
Because Earth, we know it spins once a day. Yes, thank you. 3 people know how long a day lasts here.
Good for row number 2. They're off to a great start.
So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out.
Yeah.
Gets wider in the middle. And so Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning. And it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out.
Yeah.
Gets wider in the middle, and it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere. It's
Someone give this guy a cookie, please. Give this black man a cookie. I love how he maintains his cool. He keeps it real. He knows how to keep calm. Hey, he's a scientist. He's a professional. He is Dr. Neil deGrasse. So let's examine what he just told you. He just told you that, well, and again, this is something that many physicists are just agreeing and they're jumping on board and they say it's true. The Earth is not a perfect sphere, it is oblate. And last time I checked, this is what an oblate object would look like. And it's right in front of you. That is what an oblate object would look like. But he goes on a little bit further. Listen to what Neil deGrasse continues to say.
Not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
Yeah.
So it turns out the pear-shapedness is bigger than the height of Mount Everest above sea level.
Let's just look at what Neil deGrasse Tyson is actually depicting here. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how the Earth looks when we examine what Neil deGrasse is just telling us right now. This is what the Earth really looks like. Wow. Wow. You see that? Here's a burn-off question to Neil deGrasse and anyone who believes that the Earth is oblate, pear-shaped, and it's or more fatter at the equator, however you want to saying if you want to believe that you live on an earth like that, then hey, by all means, you are a human being. You are free to believe whatever you want to believe. No one's going to stop you from that. We know for a fact the earth does not spin. So let's just say, for argument's sake, let's agree with Neil deGrasse, and let's just say, for argument's sake, he was right. Based upon the logic presented here, the earth has flattened out more at the equator. And this is due to its so-called rotation for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Now, based on that logic of heliocentrism, they say all the planets, they revolve on their own axis and they all orbit the sun. So, if Earth flattened out more at the center or at the equator and it became an oblate spheroid, then the question is, when they gaze up into the heavens and they look at all the other heavenly bodies which they depict as spheres as well, then we have to ask the question, and we have to take into consideration, or we have to take into account, if that happened to Earth, how come the other heavenly bodies are perfect spheres based upon the images that we are receiving from NASA? And also, how come Earth, according to NASA, is a perfect sphere? Yet, they are telling you that the Earth is not a ball, it's not spherical. Talk about a loophole of a reasoning. Ladies and gentlemen, the beauty about all this which I'm sharing with you right now, you don't have to be highly intelligent, neither do you have to be highly educated to connect the dots and say, hey, this logic does not seem to make sense with that which is being presented by these professionals. Yes, you should hold them accountable, because these are the people who are highly influential in society, and they are the ones who run the education system. You should hold them accountable. But at the same time, you also are to be held accountable for allowing yourself to be misguided by these deceptions of these buffoons. So now imagine yourself sitting there and you're listening to this and you're hearing what Neil deGrasse is telling you about the Earth's form and its true physical appearance. How it is pear-shaped, it is an oblate, it's more fatter below the equator than it is at the top. What images are you going to get? Of course, you're going to get distorted images of what the Earth looks like. These people, they can tell you anything, but yet you're not going to question what they're telling you. Here is the vivid contradiction right in front of you. They're telling you the Earth is not a perfect sphere. They're telling you that the Earth is oblate. They're telling you, hey, you may have seen images of the Earth being a perfect sphere, but the Earth is not a sphere. The Earth is pear-shaped. It's not a ball. They just essentially told you to you right in front of you. Right in front of your eyes, they're looking at you and they're telling you the Earth is pear-shaped. Honestly, they're playing games with you. Essentially, when you consider what Neil deGrasse is just saying, what you will find is it's actually a perfect illustration that people will never, ever question authority. People will never question the so-called great minds of society. These people, the NASA astronauts and Neil deGrasse, also Bill Nye the Science Guy, and many others who are all categorized under the list of the great minds of modern day society. These people, whatever they say, no one questions them. They hold themselves in a position of power in such a way that anyone who dares to challenge them or anyone who dares to question, they are automatically deemed to be uneducated. If you are not on board with science, you are uneducated and you are simply living in the past. And you are holding back society from moving one step further into the next stage of human, quote-unquote, evolution. So let's take another footage. Listen to this guy, this Dr. Neil deGrasse.
And so the pole, Earth rotates, and the pole bobs up and down over tens of thousands of years, and we and we oscillate like this, the way a top does. When you see a top begin to slow down, nobody plays with tops anymore.
I love tops.
Well, you gotta love a top. I play with them.
love them.
You spin it, and then it begins to.
I love that.
The official word is precess. We do that, and we do one full precession every 26,000 years. We don't flip. Earth rotates, and the pole bobs up and down over tens of thousands of years, and we oscillate like this, the way a top does. When you see a top begin to slow down, nobody plays with tops anymore.
I love tops.
Well, you gotta love a top. I play with them.
I love them.
You spin it, and then it begins to.
I love that.
The official word is precess. We do that, and we do one full precession every 26,000 years. We don't flip.
We oscillate and we do one full precession every 26,000 years. Every 26,000 years. Someone give this man a cookie. Give this man a cookie for actually being so cool about this. Telling you this nonsense. Every 26,000 years. Yet it's only 2015. Yet I bet there's going to be some foolish Christians out there who are going to say, well, it could be a possibility because humanity has been on earth for hundreds of thousands of years. But yet, the Word of God does not suggest that human beings have been on earth for hundreds of thousands of years. We haven't even been here on earth for 10,000 years. Take it how you will. But as for me, I'm going to lean upon the Bible and the Bible only. These men who place themselves in the position of authority and in such a high status in society where they are looked upon as the great minds of the modern day age. These are men who claim to be wise. They profess to be wise. Listen to what the Bible says about these men who profess to be wise. Because that, when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. The truth of the matter is this, ladies and gentlemen. These people, such as Neil deGrasse, and much of the people who are well recognized in society as the great minds, these are people who love the spotlight. They love to be admired and to be gazed upon as the intellects. And by professing to be wise, they became fools because they are actually pushing an agenda that is demonic and that which pushes people further away from the living God. They are at war against God. It's just ridiculous when you go back and when we examine what this man is just telling you right in front of you. He's saying, hey, the earth is not a sphere, the earth is not a ball, the earth is pear-shaped, the earth is oblate, the earth is Yet, when you're looking at the images that they give to us about the earth, what do you see? Do you see anything close to the description of this scientist is giving to you right now? No. Which means, does he even know how the earth looks? No. He's giving to you all these assumptions. He's giving you all these theories. Things which are justified and defended by literature. And that's it. Yet, when tests and studies and observations are being performed to examine the true nature of the world, and now you are actually questioning that which the scientific community has given to us, what we find is there is no such thing as a curvature which exists to our world. Which means that which they have been giving to us is false. And ultimately, the only evidence that you're ever going to find that's going to justify a spherical earth or a pear-shaped flat earth is going to be in the books and literature, justified by theories upon theories upon a mounting stacks of more theories. And when you do a careful observation of these theories, what you will find is circular reasoning, loophole of a reasoning. And listen to the boldness and audacity that this man is actually going to say. He's going to say that the good thing about science is it's true whether you believe it or not.
You know, I said this once, and it's gotten a lot of internet play. I said the good thing about science is that it's true whether or not you believe in it. All right? I guess you can decide whether or not believe in it, but that doesn't change the reality.
So regardless of what you think, what they tell you, if science tells you this is what it is, then you cannot argue, you cannot refute that which you are told. It is true regardless. So for those of you that are huge fans of this man, here's something to keep in the back of your heads. Most of these people, they are pagans. They carry the symbols of the sun with them. And anyone who actually subscribes to the heliocentric model should not be surprised of its pagan origins from the father of heliocentrism, Copernicus, or Copernicus, however you want to pronounce it. And much of these people who profess to be scientists, they in fact are following under the doctrines of paganism, and they carry the symbols of the sun with them. Neil deGrasse is no different than any other. He rolls with the big shots of society, the Freemasons that govern the nations today. But that's just something for you to think about.